So good morning and welcome to Tutoring for Elementary Level. This is brought to you by the South Carolina State Library. Our agency director purchased this when we closed in the spring, and it is going to be available at least through the end of this school year. So we really encourage you to get the word out, the awareness, in whichever formats you are able to. If you're able to share this in a morning show for the school, if you have maybe monitors in the hallway that scroll and show things, put it out there. If you can share the recording out, just to get the word out to your schools. So Tutor.com is actually available to K through 12 students in South Carolina. And these on your screen are the tutoring times from 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. Sunday through Saturday. If a student tries to access after 10 p.m., there is a notification on the screen that will tell them that the tutors will be available again at 8 a.m. There are also Spanish-speaking tutors that are available from 2 p.m. to 2 a.m. And again, with our elementary students especially, that would be up to the parent or guardian's decision as to how late they would actually want the student to use this. But those are those tutors that speak Spanish for the students whose first language is Spanish. So if they would do better getting something explained in that language. You can access Tutor.com from the Discus A to Z list or the grade level tabs at our site. And it's very important that you do not go to www.tutor.com to access. That's one of the things that we've discovered. It has kind of been a misunderstanding, a bit of confusion, because the name of the product is Tutor.com, and we all by nature are going to go out to, to the website of whatever .com we hear. So if you're ever working with a patron or working with a student, and the first thing they say is, I cannot connect to a tutor, you're going to know that this would be the first thing for you to check, is just to make sure that they are going out to our through the Discus website. So that would be rule number 2, access through scdiscus.org from your school library or media center website. That said, for those of you who are at the schools, you can also access Tutor.com from their public county library, but there's going to be a different access point for them. So that's an option if for any reason they aren't able to go through the school library or media center, that you can ask your county library about, your public library. But we really like to just reinforce and get the students and parents in the habit of going through Discus from the contact point at their school, so that they get the correct screen. So these are those contact points. They can get it from the A to Z list, listed alphabetically, from either of the 3 grade levels or from the Discus Kids listing of the Tutor.com. So that's the first important point that we'll make there. Personal accounts. This is another piece that sometimes is confusing to the students and the parents. When you first go and connect to a tutor, which we will go live and do in a moment. We won't actually connect to a tutor, but I'll show you how to do it. When you connect to a live tutor, it does not require a personal account for the student, regardless of their grade level, K through 12, or their age. So you would just want to close out of the pop-up. So whenever they click on connect to a tutor and they get this pop-up, you're just going to want to direct those students to close out of that little pop-up. It is not a requirement for them to have that account. In fact, for your elementary level students who are kindergarten through 6th grade and who are 13 years or under, they do not create an account. There are different COPA compliant reasons for that. because they're actually using emails for those accounts. So that's two of the pieces to clarify is just the access is through the Discus site, and you would just close that. And we'll see that again live in a moment. Here is a couple of review for these key points. The video lessons for English, Math, and AP do not require a personal account either. And we'll actually look at that live in a moment. This is a statement that I do like to put up here for everyone to know that students 13 and under do not create an account. They can get help from the real-time tutor with a math problem or paper writing issue, along with many other subjects. They also have access to the Math, English, and AP videos, which they're probably not going to want the advanced placement videos yet, but those are not, also do not require an account. However, those aged 13 and under do not have access to the asynchronous math drop-off, paper review, test prep, and other features. So I'm going to show you, it always helps to see the visual of that, but this is just some text and key points that you can use also. I will also throw in there for you all who are media specialist teachers at schools, if any of you would like a copy of these slides to be able to tailor for your own purposes in any of the trainings you do for your school, you're welcome to email me for those as well. I did want to add that students 14 and up can create a personal account if they want to. Again, they can connect to the tutor without having to do that. But if they want to drop a math problem off when the tutors are not available, or a paper review, etc., some of your parents will actually have more children at the home or in their family than just their elementary student. They may have a 15-year-old. So if you do get questions about that, I wanted to clarify that those students do have a couple of more options in Tutor.com. I also want to do a little clarification on the third piece. The screen that I just showed you prior to this that had the account where it had the unlock the extra features account, we do have some parents and students who think that means they need to enter the Discus username and password, and that causes a bit of confusion. So if you're ever helping a parent or a student, you want to make sure that they know they do not enter the Discus account. The only time they would need to enter that Discus account is if they see this screen that's prompting them. And as you all know, as media specialists, sometimes that happens if they're on a remote device or not using one of the computers at the school, those kinds of issues. But just to make that distinction that they should not need the Discus username and password to connect to the tutor, but if they ever get prompted by this screen. Okay, so that was some of the do's and don'ts. Now we're going to go ahead and go live. I'm going to stop the share on this screen, and we are going to go ahead and go live there to the interface. So let me just do a new share here, and I'll pull this up for us. So again, you can access through the A to Z list. You can access through grade levels or through the Discus Kids listing of databases. I'm just going to quickly jump into A to Z list, click on the letter T, and go down to tutor.com. So the very first thing that you should see whenever you go to tutor.com, a student goes to tutor.com, is that Discus logo. That way you know they have accessed it correctly. So that's one of the first things to ask as a troubleshooting piece. If a parent calls and says that that they can't connect, or they're having an issue with that, that's the first thing you want to ask them. Do you see the Discus logo at the top? If they've gone out to tutor.com instead of going through the Discus site, that logo will not be there. Notice across the top here, Connect with the Tutor Now is bolded in dark print. The other features to submit a paper, drop off, etc., are grayed out. So again, those are going to be the special features that, that are optional for the 14-year-olds and up. The videos that are also available to the students without needing an account are the videos for math and English that you see in the third orange box on your right. So those videos are broken out here, and they're easily accessed without logging in. So you can see that it'll actually bring up the video there without having to log in. So that's just another thing to keep in mind. They do have access to some of these that they can actually use, and this might actually answer a question where they don't even need to connect to a tutor, but just so that you know that they are there. Checking chat here, looks like we've got a couple of things pop up. Is a password needed to log into the SC Discus website? Can you share the Discus username and password? So with that, there is a password needed, and I will be able to share that with you when I stop the recording here at the end of the session. I will share that out with you, Amy, so that you will have that. You can also get that from your school's media specialist as well if you ever need it during the school year. It changes every August 1st of every year. Thank you for your question there. So you can see once I go, I can actually scroll down and browse what is available here, as we did with the videos. Anytime you've gone off to another piece of the website such as that, you always want to go back to the little house that you'll see, the black house on the top row on the left, because that will get you back out to that basic screen. Notice down as you scroll down, this will show you everything that's available. There are over 90 different subjects and sub-subjects, subcategories within those subjects that are accessible. You can see this one is reading grades K through 7. You can go to more subjects to see what's available there. I wanted to also point out to you a couple of other features. They have recently added these student success study skills. So if it's just a student that is trying to learn how to study correctly or effectively, maybe you have a 5th grader that's trying to learn a little bit about taking notes, etc. Those have been added recently. There's also social studies. Even though math is the primary and most used tutoring sessions that we have, there are other things that can also be of use to those students. Even a 5th grade student who is learning Spanish can actually log in and ask a tutor for help. You can also find a lot of these here, as you see, are going to be more for your high school level student. But notice on the right here, as I scroll down, the parent coaching for student success. This has recently been added as well, because there are so many parents, as you know, who are at home trying to assist their students. Maybe it's been a minute since they've been in school themselves. So they can help setting expectations, motivating and goals, finding balance between school, you know, when to get off that screen time, when to kind of get away and take a break. So these are going to be actually pieces that the parents can speak to tutors about to get some additional assistance with. And then the rest of these that you see at the bottom are going to primarily be for your high school level students, but we do also have the tutoring that is in Spanish, as I mentioned before, if that is the native language of a student, they can also use these. So they can browse those categories, or what is best for you to show your actual student is just to go to connect with a tutor now. That's when they're going to get the ability to connect with that tutor. And it's going to be easy for them to then show which grade level that they're in, kindergarten through 6 there for your set. You know, if they're looking at, let's say, 4th grade, they can choose the topic here. They can choose their math. Once they've set those two, then the choices over here are going to change according to the grade level they're in. So if they're just wanting, they have a basic math question, they can go in and enter here, you know, their question. If they're having trouble with working with a word problem, they could just say word problem, need help there to fill that in. And then they would just connect now. And we're not going to do that right now because we obviously aren't going to connect to a tutor to do the math, but just so that you can see how to set that up, that's how you would actually go through the process to set it up. If a student does go, you know, if they do happen to browse some of these little buckets down here, and they want to, you know, learn about main idea in reading, when they click on that, it's going to take them to that same screen. And all they'll need to do at that point that says reading main idea is tell them what grade they're in. Okay. So you can see also, I like to point out, there is an honor code that is here just under what do you need help with today. And it does emphasize, I especially like to show you number 4, completing the work. The student works with tutors to achieve understanding of the material presented rather than expecting or requesting tutors to complete the assignment or provide answers to the assignments. So again, those tutors are trained to coach that student step by step, ask very specific questions to help them critically think through the piece. So it really is tutoring them in order to get them to be able to understand the concepts or understand you know, what they're doing there. I'm going to check chat here to see if there's any other comments or questions that you have posted. Okay, not yet. So I'm going to show you one more piece here. I'm going to actually take you into the Tutor Classroom that your student will see once they connect with that tutor. And I'm just going to go ahead and change to that tab for you to be able to see this. This is just a little demo Tutor Classroom so that you and the parent would be able to see what is going to happen next. So at this point, the tutor will have already received the information about what subject and what grade level the student is in, and they will begin typing in chat here. And all of this is going to be anonymous. Of course, the tutor is not going to know if, you know, if the student is male or female or anything about their name or any personally identifying information, because again, they've just connected anonymously. But then the student could say, please help with this word problem here down in chat. Okay, again, some of your younger students are going to need that parent or guardian, you know, or big sister or someone in the family that will help with some of this if they aren't able to actually type all of this out. So there will need some assistance there, you know, if they're still in kindergarten or they're really on the younger end of elementary level. Then the tutor would respond back there. Also notice within the classroom, there are whiteboards here that they can use. They can use more than one. So if they need to show a student, maybe write on that board and show a student how to set up a word problem, you know, they can kind of talk with them and say, okay, you know, what do you have here? And, you know, what are we working with? And they can do it with their pencil here. They can also use all of these tools on the right to be able to walk through steps with a student. There's a graphing calculator here also that they can use, which will be apparent here in a moment whenever I show you another feature. The code editor is going to be more for computer kinds of pieces that they're going to demonstrate and use. The text editor, if the student is learning to write maybe their first book report and they're struggling with a piece with that, they can actually share files back and forth. So the student may share a file, or the tutor can share a file. So there's a lot of abilities here for that. So if I wanted to share a file as a student, I could click on share file here, and I could actually go out and choose that file. And you might not be able to see what I'm doing now because it's a pop-up, but I will show it to you in a moment if you don't actually see the piece. But I went out to my local computer. Let's say the student had an assignment that they wanted to share with that tutor. If you all in chat could show me if you see this pop-up that says, please ensure the document you're about to share contains no personal information. If you could just tell me in chat if you're seeing any of that, that will be very helpful for me to know. Great, good. I'm glad that you can see that because that's another important piece, the parents especially, and I as a parent would also want to know that, that piece there. So once you say okay, and you send that file, notice that file appears now over in the chat of the session. Since this is a demo classroom, I'm not able to open that file for you to actually see it, but I will quickly stop share there and change it to what this file is. So you can see what this imaginary student just sent. So this was their assignment. This actually comes from our World Almanac for Kids teacher handouts, our other database, just to show you. If they don't really know how to set up this problem to figure out whether or not this $1 bill equals 2 quarters, 3 dimes, and 6 nickels, or they don't know how to get started, and perhaps the parent isn't sure about how to help show them how to do it, that's something they could do. They could actually share the assignment with the tutor with that file. They could also, just say, I made a really bad grade on my test and I'm struggling with these fractions and I need assistance. So that's, that's some of the capabilities that this does have for them to be able to work through pieces with that tutor. Question, if we're doing PD for our teachers, how can we show them what you're showing us right now in the classroom? Excellent question, Betsy. I'm going to send a follow-up email to all of the registrants of this session, and it's going to include links for those, for that classroom so that you can demonstrate it, because this is a very important piece for them to know what to expect. I appreciate that question. So I will be sending you a follow-up email with the recording, with that sample classroom link, also with a survey link that I ask that you please take the time to do. It's only one question that's required for this session, but since we are federally funded, we do like to get as much feedback as we can. For that purpose, I personally like your feedback because I can tell better what worked for you in the webinar, what didn't work, what you would like to see differently. We also have a question there for you to let us know what else you would like to see offered in our webinars. So that is just about all of the overview that I have to show you all today. I do want, I am going to go ahead and stop the recording, but I'm not closing out of the session. So since there are so few of us in the session, go ahead and stop that.